said, it's getting a little too hard to be out here. We're going to need to go inside. And, you know,
that's our cue.
Yeah, and we respect our crew's decision-making and their judgment. And if they say they've got to go, they go. It's, you know, safety is #1 for the crews and everyone in the building, really.
Another crew that's out there, and while we have an opportunity, while it's still safe for her, is 7 News reporter Jessica Holly. She's in northeast Miami-Dade. Jess, how are you making out?
I'm doing okay, Craig and Belkis, and you were just talking about making that decision to move. We just had to make that decision. We were in Miami Shores, and we were in our vehicle, and we could feel it moving back and forth. It got a little scary, so we got on the road and headed to this parking garage. This is in northeast Miami-Dade. We're just west of Biscayne Bay, not far from the bay at all. But these are the strongest winds we've seen so far, and we're safe inside a parking garage here, just peeking out. But we have seen huge trees snapped. We've seen these enormous palm fronds, and you know those are not light. Those are falling to the ground. They're not falling, they're shooting to the ground. It is definitely not dangerous, not for anyone, even a reporter, to be out in this wind. We were told that it would get bad about this time, and that is exactly what has happened. We were in the car driving over here, and there's debris all over the road. Then the winds picked up, and we knew, you know, that we had to stop taking video. We were taking a little video of the trees down to share with you. We had to stop taking video. We had to pull over and get under an overhang, and then eventually we made it to this parking garage. But again, this is the worst we have seen. The trees are completely bent over. I don't know if you saw the stop sign over there waving in the wind. Keeping an eye on that. That is the kind of thing that can be deadly. If that stop sign were to come loose and hit someone, it could be a fatal event. Same goes for any branch or all of these palm fronds. They're very heavy, and they're not just falling to the ground, they're shooting to the ground in this high wind. So that is the situation here. This is the best we can do for now for our own safety. We were back in Miami Shores this morning at the seawall, and things just got a little too dicey as the sun came up. We knew that was going to happen. That's exactly what Phil said was going to happen. So we moved to a safer place. We're going to bring you updates from here for as long as we can. Right now we're in northeast Miami-Dade. Jessica, Holly, back to you guys.
Okay, Jess.
All right, Jessica, thanks for that. Yeah, we're getting a lot of some folks tweeting us saying it's not safe for the reporters to be out there, but like we said before, they know when they need to come in, and when they do. When they're ready, they just seek shelter.
A reminder for a lot of folks. I mean, it's been a while since we've had a brush with a storm. It's been what, 10 or so years since Wilma, Katrina. It's hard to at least
keep track.
Get a lot of folks.
Well, Matthew, we had Matthew last year.
Luckily for us, turned
not
into
this,
nothing.
but yeah.
And people will say in a Matthew situation, "I've been through a hurricane." Well, no, you really haven't. And this we're seeing today. And again, we're a good deal away from the core of the system. But when you're doing your storm prep, when people say, bring in your patio furniture, anything to get picked up in a clay pot you leave in your high-rise balcony, that's a decorative, accent.
Because you think it's heavy enough.
Not in a scenario like this. A clay pot can go flying, and if that hits a person or a window that's not been reinforced in some way, it can cause problems. So it's a chore, it's an exercise, but patio furniture, potting, any tools that you use in the garden or whatnot that you leave outside that might seem harmless, this is why you bring it in.
And
so
again,
it's not...
Phil made the point. We're not even in the cone.
Right.
And look at the weather out there. Look at the weather, and we're not even in the cone. Guilty as charged. I'm the first one doing the happy dance when we're out of the cone. I'm not doing the happy dance right now.
And the difference here with this system is we may not have been in the cone in the last couple days as we leave our live view from our North Bay Village studios here out to 79th Street, but the storm is so mammoth. I mean, at one point, 400 miles wide, much wider than the state of Florida, even if you're not in the cone, because the cone really applies to the center. Where is the center? Where is the pole? Where are the strongest winds going? But the storm itself, that cloud deck, or whatever you want to call it, fans out well beyond the center. So yeah, we weren't in the cone, but we're sure feeling the outer bits of this big old thing, and we will for the rest of the day today, heading westbound on 79th Street Causeway.
Rebecca Vargas is, I believe, in North Bay Village, just outside our 7 News studios, with a live report. Are you out there, Rebecca?
We're out here. I hope you can see us, Belkis and Craig. But like you said, Craig, there is no doubt that we are feeling these bands. You can see it. This is probably the first time that I can say that we have seen the most consistent gusts of wind. It is just coming sideways at this point. I want to show you our North Bay Village studio is completely surrounded by the bay here, and you can just see as the rain is on top of the water going sideways across. The waves are just picking up, smacking against that seawall, and fortunately that seawall seems to be doing a pretty good job at protecting those very small, low condo buildings there. A lot of them are boarded up, but like we were saying, it is so important that people took things inside, because we have just seen how debris has been blowing through the wind here. Fortunately, there are not too many trees around us, and again, like we said, we just have a crew out here keeping our eyes out and making sure, because the longer we stay out here, as you can see, it's getting worse and worse. It's hard to stand up at times because we're in the thick of it. We are for sure in the bands and feeling Irma. It's quite mind-boggling actually to think if we were actually in the cone at this point, what that would feel like. So we are counting our blessings there. But again, you can just see how powerful debris has been strewn just overnight. Last night, we showed you video before, but one of our carports, at the time, the roof was ripped off and just being held on by a thread up against one of the trees. But the winds are whipping throughout here. We can't even see North Miami, and we can't even see Miami Beach at this point. That is how strong and powerful and how the rain is coming down at this point. And look at these waves. I don't know if you can see that. Letner, our 7 News photographer here, trying to show you how the waves are just smacking there against that seawall, really protecting those condos from getting any storm surge, because of course that is the biggest concern, especially when you're on these coastal areas and along the bay. It's the storm surge. That was one of our biggest concerns. So fortunately we are doing okay, and we'll keep monitoring it out here outside our North Bay Village studios. Craig and Belkis, back to you.
That is a good thing, and you know, storm surge has kind of been among the buzz phrases of the system. Not that it's new, of course it's not, but when the Hurricane Center put up that new product this year where they gauge the potential threat of storm surge in different neighborhoods, I've got to say, in 25 years of being here, I never had a sense of the different places where I've lived in a bad storm, in a direct hit situation, how bad the storm surge could be.
And we keep hearing a lot of the hurricane-related deaths are because of the storm surge. There's no time to do anything. You're just kind of swept away.
I think with one of the advisories last night, the threat in terms of the surge in Broward, whatever threat level there had been reduced or whatnot. Miami-Dade, it's still also there, but not as considerable as it had been, and certainly nothing to say what they're going to see over in Southwest Florida, over in Collier and in Lee County.
That's where Kristen Holmes is standing by live for us. Kristen, how are things?
Good morning, Craig and Belkis. Well, we are really feeling the effects of these outer bands right now. As you know, the eye of the storm making landfall in Key West, and we are starting to see picked up winds and certainly a more driving rain here. And you're showing those videos of Key West, you're showing those videos of Miami, and they have 90-mile-per-hour winds. They have incredibly high winds there, and this area in particular is likely to see 137-mile-per-hour winds, so incredibly dangerous here. And we're only going to keep seeing as it moves this direction. We are directly in the path of Hurricane Irma right now, and as it moves this direction, we are going to see more and more of this rainfall. We're going to start seeing that incredibly strong wind, and the big concern here is whether or not people in these areas in Fort Myers, in Tampa, in Naples were ready for this kind of storm. As you know, in Miami, we thought that it was going to make landfall there. People had a few days to gather supplies, to board up their homes, to really get ready for this. Essentially, here where we are in Fort Myers, people had less than 24 hours to realize not only that the storm was coming, to not only get their homes ready, but also to get anything that they could possibly need. And what we're seeing now is that people are deciding to just ride this storm out. They didn't have the time to prepare and to evacuate, so they're staying here, they're hunkering down, and they're gonna face those 137-mile-per-hour winds head on.
All right, Kristen Holmes, live for us in Lee County over in Fort Myers, thanks so much. And once our focus shifts from Monroe County and the Keys, we're really going to pay a close eye to to Southwest Florida, Collier County, Lee County, because they're going to get something they haven't seen, I guess, the likes of it since Hurricane Charlie a few years back.
I remember that one.
Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie. Omar Lewis, let's bring it back here to South Florida. He's in the Midtown Miami area to tell us how things are shaping up there. Omar?
Since we last spoke to you guys, another tree falling over here in Midtown. I want to show you uprooted, just knocked right over. That tree right there was up a few moments ago and now down, and there's several down trees on this road. Trees snap because of this wind, and of course, all of these things that are now down and loose and everything like that, becoming projectile objects. So very dangerous. You see entire branches over here to our left here. We're going to pan in. Branches just sitting in the field here, ready to be picked up by the wind at any moment. And these winds are increasing rapidly over time.